welcome. We've got the legend that is the whirlwind, Jimmy White, in the studio with us. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Pleasure, Chris. Hello, Wayne.
How are you doing? All right, sir?
Very good, mate. Thank you.
It's, do you know, I've never done a three-way before.
Sorry?
Don't tell lies.
It's true.
Don't tell.
True. A three-way conversation. I've never
sorry.
had one
Jimmy
of those.
thought you meant a threesome, you said. I just want to interpret it.
Excuse me, all them stories are lies then.
I think, if you're not bored of this, I think we ought to go back to the start because you started around about 13 years of age, did you?
Yeah, my time with my dad was a builder, and my time with my dad, my mum used to clean a hotel, and on a Friday afternoon he used to pick me up from school at 3 o'clock, and 3 o'clock till 7 was the only time I was with my dad. And it was, unfortunately, it was in a pub in Selkirk Road in Tooting, and there used to be a pool table in there. And after a few months of just sitting in the corner, I started playing pool. And then from the age of sort of 12 to 13, I played pool, and then I went to this snooker club with my brother, and I seen all these, you know, because a snooker table is like twice the size of a pool table, and it's like 6 aside with football. And then all of a sudden I just fell in love with the game, and before I knew what it was, at 13 I was really good. I got into the national newspaper for making a century. In China now they make them at like 8 now, they make century breaks. And me and a guy called Tony Mio, we had this taxi driver, a black cab driver who had money in the snooker club, and he said, I'll back you and give you 20% and I'll take you all around the country.
Did you say 20%?
Yeah.
Oh, he had 80?
He had 80.
Oh, right.
But he had the initial money. Listen.
You were kids?
We just want to play snooker.
That's what you want to do.
So all of a sudden we put a pin in the map and it'd say York. So we get in a black taxi, don't forget. Diesel black taxi.
Wow.
Like, the amount of hours in them black taxis, I can't. You think as you get on in life, you get over it. But even when we're getting these modern black taxis now, I'm like, oh no. And we drive to York, and you'd be the best player. You or Wayne would be the best player in York. So you got these two whippersnappers, one of 14 and one of 15, Tony Mio. And we'd play you for money. And then all you guys, all your friends would back you. And we'd clean up. We'd stay in York that night. And then
You'd thrash us.
Because we wasn't hustling.
Yeah?
We were just beating
you. Just wanted to play snooker.
We just wanted to pop balls. We was like obsessed. So then we'd go from York. You'd be the nearest town home. By the time we get home in a week, obviously it's not very good being on the road at that age. But all of a sudden we've got like £1,500 or something. And that's only our 20%.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
And we're like millionaires, you know. But so that was,
especially in those days. I
So
mean,
that-
1,300 quid or 1,500
yeah, well, I'm nearly
quid.
40 now, so it's a long time.
Jimmy, no, 59. Sorry,
Sorry, mate. Sorry, mate.
You said you were mentioned that. Every now and then we will take a short break to wave at the wonderful people going past the windows here at the City Centre studios.
Do you know, I thought they were waving at me. It's Jimmy, isn't it? It's
Well,
Jimmy.
I think you're a bit of a character, Wayne. I think they may know you.
We can ask you, if you want to take a selfie, take a selfie.
Who's that with Wayne?
Who's that? You want to do a selfie?
Do a selfie. Yeah, do a pout. Do a pout.
Oh,
there we go.
yes.
There we go.
mate?
Take a photo.
Hello.
There we go.
Oh, here, look. Our man's on it.
Sasha's on it as well.
Sasha's
bless him.
on it, yeah.
That's
Cool.
lovely. So, Jimmy, seriously, you'd make 20%, you and your mate, right? And what about the times when you'd actually make that kind of money or more, and you sometimes had to give some of it back, or you felt you had to?
Well, we had to, Wayne, because all of a sudden you've seen the atmosphere would change, and then all of a sudden, like, you know, these people have lost their mortgage money, or you know, they did on their chasing thing. Okay, well, he can't keep being that good, and they'd come back. So often, Bob would say his name, Bob Davis, his name. He'd say, "Look, lads, what do you think? And we'd like give the money back, because also in the environment in South London where the snooker club was, it was a very dangerous place. A bit like where our good friend comes from, John Virgo in Salford. They had a dodgy snooker club. And, you know, in them days, you done your Christmas shopping in the snooker club because of all the shoplifters would bring all the stuff in. It was like...
You didn't need to go down on
it
the
was like
ice,
your
no.
Amazon was our snooker halls in them days.
Yeah.
So,
But it was sort of accepted, was it?
it was accepted, you know, but there was principles in them days, like, you know, if you burgled someone's house,
No chance. Yeah.
you got a good hiding, you know.
Yeah.
You know, you got like that was a no, you know. And so I grew up with my front door. My mum had a key on a piece of string in front door. You'd often come home and someone would be making a bacon sandwich, like, who's that?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you know, that is how it was. So there were some very dodgy times in them snooker days as a kid, and then all of a sudden I become 16, because no internet, no mobile phones in
No.
them days, so no one knew who he was. And then I become 16. I won the English amateurs, and I was talking to our good friend JV about this not long ago. Is that one of the biggest mistakes I made when I won the English amateurs at 16? I waited 2.5 years to go to Tasmania to win the world amateurs, when in hindsight I should have gone to the Crucible in Sheffield and had 2 years experience. Now why I waited to become world amateur champion, which I won thankfully. Steve Davis went and played Alex Higgins in 1979, lost.
Yeah.
Played Dennis Taylor in 80, and then my first year in the World Championships in 1981 was playing Steve Davis.
Yep.
I'm 6-1 down. I end up losing 10-8, and he went on to dominate through the 80s. So looking back now, I should have had 2 more years at the Crucible.
Yeah.
A bit of a mistake, you know.
Am I right in saying in 1984 that was the closest call?
No, I had another one. I lost 18-16 to Steve Davis, and then in 93 or 94, sort of just coming away from my cocaine days.
Yes.
That I lost to Henry 18-17. I'm not sure what year.
I mean, that's one of the major things of snooker is when you're against it. And I've posed this question many times before to many different snooker players. And what's your biggest frustration that you find when you're at the bays? What is that one thing that goes through your mind?
Snooker is unique in a sense, a fact actually, that when you make a mistake, you've got to go back and sit in your seat while the other guy dishes up all what should have been
It's
yours.
almost like a dunce seat, isn't it? You know, with the dunce hat on, and
It's like somebody eating your dinner, isn't it?
Yes.
in a way,
you've got a
yeah, I know
nice
you're right.
steak, and then it's there.
No, and you've just cooked it.
You've just had a few chips,
Yeah.
and they're eating your steak.
We're going to go next door and have
Yeah.
a Yorkshire in a minute. But that's so you know, that's the frustrating bit. So at golf, you have individual shots. You know, it's a still ball game before you get to the table, and it's fascinating game what you can do with a cue ball. You know?
Yeah.
It's frightening. So, you know, I'm more dedicated now than I was. I can't say when I was a kid because I was completely obsessed, but I'm more dedicated now, practicing wise, and I'm enjoying it now just as much as ever.
Can I just say something, Jimmy? And I don't want to offend you. I hope I'm not. But when I think about you on one side with Alex Higgins, characters,
Yes,
who probably didn't practice as much as they should have done
correct.
when you were young.
Yeah.
If that be the truth. And then on the other side, I see people like Stephen Hendry and Steve Davis, and in the middle, Rocket.
Yeah,
Do you see what? Because Davis and Hendry, very serious people.
yeah.
Who, were over serious probably at times. They were, certainly not characters as such, if that makes sense. And then you two. How on earth do people who not practice manage to get it? Is it because it's just a natural ability, really?
Well, it's a natural ability in any sport. It's not quite enough. You know,
Yeah.
there was. That's absolutely right. You know, unfortunately for me, coming from a working class background, and all of a sudden you become famous well, you think you're famous, and then all of a sudden I'm getting girls talk to me, wouldn't even look at me twice. I'm getting roped off in nightclubs. You know, I'm having a whale of a time. You know, if I come to York, for example, you know, I'd know every nightclub in York, you know, and I'd be out 2 or 3 times in the week, and you got planning in Sheffield, as we've had many drinks in Josephine's.
Yeah.
You know, I was not dedicated at all, and unfortunately, well, I say unfortunately, you know, that was how I was, because where I come from, if you had money, you should be out celebrating. And then you got, when you mentioned him, Ronnie O'Sullivan. Now, I met Ronnie when he was 16. He's 46 this week. This weekend, he's 46. And I told him, you know, not to do what I did. And, you know, and so what he's done, Ronnie O'Sullivan, very clever. He took a bit of me going for shots. He took a bit of Stephen Hendry's getting in his own bubble, and a bit of Steve Davis's safety play, and made this winning machine. You know, and obviously, if I had my time again, of course, I wouldn't. You know, I'd go to bed at like 2 o'clock in the morning instead of 7.
But would you, Jimmy?
No.
Thank you for lying for 2 seconds.
No,
because,
but no, if
because
I did,
it's not you, is it?
No, but I, you know, JV would tell you, you know, like everyone would think I was in bed, and then all of a sudden they'd be in the nightclub and I'd be in the corner, you know.
And they'd spot you. They thought you were in bed.
But thought I was in bed, and all of a sudden I'm saying, well, you're not in bed. You know.
You talked about the breaks and the centuries, and my goodness, over 300 under your belt.
Yeah.
That's an achievement, let's face it.
Well, to be honest, I would have had double that, but what I used to do, as soon as I got to 70 and they wanted one snooker, I'd entertain the crowd. So I wouldn't make many centuries. You know, that was part, but I used to love, you know, you had Alex Higgins, who made the game popular. He had that flamboyancy, he had that panache. He made the game exciting, but he was a bit of an aggressive character. And I come along and I played aggressive, but you know, I was sort of, you know, a bit of a sort of, you know, I was soft. I'm not like I'm not that sort of, you know, I come across who I am. I don't, you know, try and pretend to be something I'm not. And people like that side of it, you know. And when I lost a few times, you know, I wasn't that disappointed. People were a bit annoyed with me why I wasn't that, because I always thought I'd just win it next year.
Yeah.
You know, which was a downfall. But I actually, hand on heart, the way I'm playing now, I'm making 147s. I'm making, when I'm practicing, 4 or 5 centuries a day. But my problem is, my game has never been so good, but I'm working on the mental side, right? Because I can be playing, I'm in amongst the balls and I'm thinking, did I water them with plants? And then the other part of my brain is going,
Would
well,
you have thought that 30 years ago?
not at all, because you're just focused.
You'd be watering something else, wouldn't you?
No, seriously, I would say to then. So part of my brain would say, well, what difference does that make? You're in doing it. So then I'm having free conversations. You know, that's what happens as you get older. When you're young, you're fearless and you get in the zone. You know, so
I concur with
I'm
that,
really
Jimmy.
I'm very lucky that snooker, as long as your eyesight's okay and your passion to practice. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to next season.
Just one. Go on.
I'm just wondering,
fighting you two.
Oh, sorry.
snooker's full of characters, isn't it?
Yeah.
Full of characters. Always has been.
It always has been. It died a bit. It's died a bit, but fortunately we got Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Yes.
And now we've got a kid who's playing today in York called Yao Ying Tong, who is unbelievable to watch. He played last night, he won 6-2, he was 2-0 down. He's now in the semi-finals. He's 24 years of age. And I see O'Sullivan at breakfast this morning, 8 o'clock before he went for his run. And he lost last night, and he couldn't wait to tell me about this kid, right? So this Yao Ying Tong could be the new thing of snooker that's going. He can win this tournament.
Their culture's the Chinese culture is very different, isn't it, to ours?
Yeah.
They they don't get sidetracked. Would you agree that's part of it, Jimmy?
No, they practice for 6 hours a day, which they do in anything they do. They do it full on. Yeah. But their mentality, they're just learning the game of snooker is that in the heat of the moment, in the heat of the battle, they think if they miss one, they go and practice it the next day for 2 hours. You're never going to miss it again. But it doesn't work like that because in the heat of competition. So they're just learning that side. Their player, Ding Junhui, who won the UK but never won the World Championship, is sort of fell by the waistline because he doesn't have that passion. But the new Chinese players, like this boy, are coming through knowing how to win and how to compete. So, you know, soon there's about 10% of the tour are Chinese. Within a couple of years, it'd be like 25%.
So when you talk about characters, you talk about Ronnie being a character himself. Who, over the years, has been your favourite character?
Well, Alex Higgins was my man. He was the one that probably, if I'd have been... mine was about giving pleasure to people, and how the game fascinated me. I played so many sort of crazy shots, but I got something back from that. It's not the way, because if they don't come off these shots, you leave your opponent very easy. But Higgins made the game famous. Steve Davis made the game competitive. And, you know, you've got Ronnie O'Sullivan, and me, there was my bit, Stephen Hendry's bit. But, you know, to say there's no characters in the game, like, look at Ronnie O'Sullivan, you know.
Yeah,
I agree. Get off the scour of it.
But do you not think that Alex Higgins, in part, made snooker famous? Do you not think a big catalyst, wasn't he?
Absolutely.
We have to thank him for that. And
yeah.
and I know things happened, and I mean, it's well documented, all the things that went wrong in his life. And then, ultimately, how is it that at his funeral, there were a lot of snooker players who weren't there?
Yeah.
I mean, why do you think? We're not going to name people,
okay.
But why do you think that was the case?
The thing about Higgins' funeral that I was really pleased with, to see Stephen Hendry there.
Yeah.
And the reason Stephen Hendry was there, because when he first come on the scene, the only people who was practiced with him was me and Alex Higgins. So probably a bad thing, because he ended up so hard to beat. But I was pleased that he was at his funeral. There was a lot of people not at his funeral, you know, and he did make snooker what it is today. All the top players will tell you that. You know, the youngsters obviously don't know who Alex Higgins is, but he made the game popular. You know, he was a superstar, Higgins, in his day. But, you know, he also had like a side to him. You know, he could cause a fight in a lift, you know, so he did have that sort of fiery temper in him. But no, for sure, you know, the big characters of sort of like the big Werbenicks and the Cliff Allburns and that, you know, they were like household names. But you've got O'Sullivan, thank God, who plays the game, you know, so easy on the eye. Now you've got this Ying Tong, who I tell you viewers to watch him, because he is phenomenal.
Definitely want to watch.
Ooh.
Definitely. One thing that obviously everyone has nicknames, and so rightly so. You've talked about Alex being the Hurricane. You're the Whirlwind. Is it a nice little synergy there? Do you reckon?
Yeah.
With that,
you know, you've got you had Tornado, Tony Drago. What do they call? You got this. Karen Wilson calls himself the Warrior. You know, it's good, but ours were named after journalists because of Hurricane Higgins, Whirlwind White, Rocket Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's nice to have a nickname. Yeah.
James Brown.
I changed my name to James Brown. Yeah, for Children in Need. We got 120.
Did you depot? Is it true that you depolled, Jimmy?
I had to change my name by depot, and they filmed me getting my credit card cut up in a service station.
He did this for HP Sauce.
Yeah.
They were the sponsors. So how long did you change it?
For a week. And Children in Need. Children in Need. The HP Sauce give a donation to Children in Need. And the people who done the PR stunt, a company called Front, very clever. They said, well, if you change your name, we get maximum publicity. But the MC for the Masters in London refused to call me Jimmy Brown. He just introduced me as Jimmy, bit of a twat.
Yeah.
But if your credit card was invalid in them days, you just cut it up. You know, people
Yeah, I
cut it
do.
up.
Yeah,
So they
still happens.
they filmed it, did it?
Yeah,
Ain't
by my
happened to me for
wife.
a few days. Yeah, your partner's credit card. So I changed my name to James Brown for a week. So yeah, that was
Did it work? Did it actually work? Was it a great
phenomenal.
Yeah,
Phenomenal. What we're still talking about
Yeah,
it now.
yeah. No, I thought when I read it, I thought
Very
incredible.
clever. Yeah.
Awesome stuff. So you can't wait for the next season. You've already mentioned a few players ones to watch. There's a few hot trots later on this afternoon, isn't there? Would you like to mention a fair few of the players that are going to be this afternoon?
Karen Wilson plays today. He beat O'Sullivan 6-5 last night. And this Ying Tong plays Barry Hawkins tonight, which is, you know, Barry Hawkins is big favourite to win, but I don't think he will. And Karen Wilson is playing Luca Purcell at 1 o'clock today for the semi-finals. You know, and everybody loves coming to York. This is one of the players. There's two tournaments that the players love to come to. Is Sheffield, because it's obviously the World Championships, and all the players love to come to York. It's such a great city, and they enjoy the venue. The Barbican's perfect for snooker.
Yeah, I spoke to Karen the other day. It was on Friday, I think it was, of last week. And he was driving up, and he says it's just, just the drive up here.
Yeah.
And just once you're back in York, and he says it is one of the best cities to play in as well.
No, it's fabulous. You know, you got lovely restaurants, and it's this time of year. And, it's beautiful. Yeah, I unfortunately for me, I've been working for Eurosport. I haven't had my only time off is tomorrow when all the shops are shut.
Yeah.
Oh, they're all open here.
they're open on
They're all
Sunday.
Yeah, we've got the Christmas
it's not
markets as
Epsom
well.
Here, mate. It's
Oh,
not
okay.
Epsom here.
See, I'm
We don't-
stuck in a timer.
We don't shut down here. We
right.
keep turning it around, love.
We have
Okay.
to.
Well, I'll be here in the morning.
But did you put 50p in the meter?
Yeah.
Do you know what? It's been really,
not
really
finished with it.
Yeah, no, well, you carry on
How
then.
dare you? Good
Don't
grief.
upset Wayne.
I'm just clock watching. That's all I'm doing.
No, we're
Anyway,
all right.
carry on.
We'll get him back. We'll get him back. It's only 1:15.
Okay.
What was I going to ask you? Right, Jimmy. Now then, you can write it down on a piece of paper if you want, but have you ever calculated how much money you've spent? Oh dear.
Oh, I like that one.
Yeah.
I'm ex-
Now, I bet it's above 50 grand. Honestly, is it a fair question?
It's a great question because I'm actually okay with it.
Yeah. Do you want me to get a pen?
No, I
Oh, all right,
tell you,
all right.
I don't care. I legally, competition-wise, I've won about 6 million, and with exhibitions, endorsements, probably got another 2 million, and I've probably spent about 11 million. So,
Seriously?
yeah. But I'm absolutely fine now. I've got loads of my money back. My ex-wife's got most of my money. God bless her. I'm in a good place now because I don't gamble, I don't drink, I don't take cocaine anymore. I've built up, I've probably got more money now than I've ever had because I never had it in one hit.
It's fabulous, and you got 7 grand. Is it 7
I've got
grandchildren?
8 grandchildren.
8 now. Oh, 8. It goes up by the week.
I know. My daughter is coming from the Cayman Islands on the 9th to spend Christmas with me with her new
That's
baby.
wonderful.
Yeah, so all the kids are coming to me for Christmas. So my life's never been better. You know?
Hey, so you're now enjoying your grandchildren more than anything, I'm guessing.
Listen, I have my grandchildren come and stay with me, and my daughter's phone and said, "Dad, what the F have you done?" I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "They're all running around the house because, they get sugar off of me. My daughters, they come from a different world. So the grandkids go in the fridge and take stuff. I can't say no. I'm granddad. So no, I'm really. I'm touch wood. I'm
Are you
in a
Mr.
great place.
Sensible now?
Well, listen, Wayne, I'll go out with you and JV and have a night out
Giggle.
where every sort of 3 months or something.
But you won't drink, will you?
Occasionally.
So when that happens, does
It's
it go
mayhem.
right? Okay, and then are you annoyed with yourself?
No,
Oh,
no,
good.
but I have some rules now, but I don't often do
No.
this. My friend Ronnie Wood, he hasn't had a drink for 13 years. He's exactly the same as when he was drinking. His personality is exactly the same. He's one of them people who just drink was just part of it. And they interviewed him the other day on a
But
radio
yours
station.
is.
They said,
Yeah.
he said, they said to him, "What's the difference now, Ron?" He said, "Well, the difference is now," he said, "I get up at 11:30 in the morning instead of going to bed at 11:30 in the morning." And the difference with me is if I'm going to go out and have a drink, like I went over to our good friend JV's house in Spain for Ken Doherty's birthday.
Yes.
They went and played golf. I went and had a drink, first time for months. But I make sure, I've got a couple of rules that I'm not seeing my grandchildren the next day,
Yes.
or I've got no work for a few days. So I make sure that, if I do go out, that the next day I can just nurse my hangover.
And you will do, will you? It'll not start again.
But I don't, no, not at all. Where before, we was never sober. It was always topping up.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah, that's incredible. But are you happy about how you handle that now?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine.
It's in control.
Listen, I've got nothing against people who drink. The only problem I've got is if you're out with someone who's had a drink, they're drinking, and all of a sudden they tell you a joke, and then they come up to you an hour later and tell you the same joke. You're like, what the? But no, I don't. I have another rule. I don't. If there's cocaine anywhere, I'm definitely out. I'm gone. I can smell that. I'd be great for the police telling them who's got the cocaine.
Yeah.
But,
Talking about Ronnie Wood.
Yeah.
How did you first meet Ronnie?
well, our daughters was in a play together at. I heard the Rolling Stones daughter went to school at my eldest daughter's school in Wimbledon, where your son lives, and I didn't have any idea that he knew who I was. And then it was, I tell you, it was actually this time of year. It was.
Isn't it funny what you've just said, though, Jimmy? That's quite incredible that you've just said you didn't think he'd know who you were.
No, I know.
That's because you saw him as the Rolling Stones. You're slightly diminishing your own position, aren't you?
I had no idea. And I met him on the 23rd of December with the kids were at the school playing. He went, Jimmy White. I went, oh, hello, Ronnie Wood, like all that. He said, you fancy a drink? I said, yeah. He said, well, not today. What about tomorrow? So I said, yeah. He said, do you know the Rose and Crown in Wimbledon Village? I said, yeah. So he said, we'll meet at 11 o'clock in the morning. I'm there about 10:15.
So this was just a regular day in the week.
Oh, no, this is Christmas Eve.
Wow.
So we meet at 11 o'clock in the morning, Christmas Eve. He pulls up in this Mercedes. Big, six, like one of the first central locking Mercedes, big long. So we're having a drink in Wimbledon Village, and we're having such a crack. And it's about 1 o'clock now. We've had about 6 pints. He's gone, what do you think? I said, so I take him to South London. I take him to all the dives in Brixton and where I brought up. And he had the greatest day ever.
And is he driving?
He drove, yeah, all day. And then he dropped me off about 2 o'clock in the morning on Christmas night, and we've been pals ever since.
And loved it.
Amazing.
Loved it. He is the nicest fella and the most kindest fella I've ever met in my life. He's absolutely beautiful.
So when you were driving him round South London, round all these various places...
This is the first time we ever met.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't care. It didn't matter. He's a man of the people.
Yeah, oh no, he did. Listen, they all loved him where he was because, I took him to places where there was no windows, he wasn't really no one was open.
Brickyard.
Yeah. But he was, no, he's a great guy, and the connection with the snookers, he had Joe Davis' original table in the Wick, a house in Richmond, and every gig that the Rolling Stones do, they put up a full-size table, and him and Keith Richards have a game of snooker.
Wow.
And now they're all sober, so round the table in them days, there'd be margaritas, ashtrays, and now it's all clean, and, you see Ronnie brushing iron the table. It's a different world.
Wow.
It is strange. But what about Georgie Best?
I met George 3 times. Good story, actually. I met George. It sounds like it was set up, but it wasn't.
No, nothing. Jimmy.
No, well, just to being honest to your listeners.
Yeah. All right, but you're right.
Ronnie, George Best, I met him in a place called the Grill in London, which was a place where you used to go to get your cocaine, unfortunately. It was a restaurant that turned into a bar after.
All night job, if you wanted.
All night job. Nice restaurant. Anyway, I went in, not that anyone ate in there, everyone was like 4 stone. Anyway, I went in there, and I'm absolutely paralytic. And I've gone over to George Best is in there, my hero, and I've gone over and
you were well known at this stage.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've gone over there and I have drove him mad. And I've told him about, I don't know if you remember when he took the ball off of Gordon Banks and headed it and scored, and they disallowed it. Right? So I drove him mad about that, and he, to such an extent that his people around him had said to my people, look, he's got to go. Right?
Got to move him off.
Got to move him off. So I think nothing of it. Anyway, about 4 years later, I meet him, and he is absolutely paralytic and drove me mad about the black I missed against Stephen Hendry off the spot.
So he's driving you nuts.
Listen, drove me absolutely nuts about the black I missed. So I'm like, okay, my people are trying to say, look, he's got to go now. And I'm like, well, he's George Best. But in the end, we had to leave. He was that pissed. And then the third time I met him in a pub only a couple of years before he died in Surrey. And we laughed about the first 2 times we met.
What a wonderful story.
Beautiful.
That's great.
Yeah.
It really is.
So now you're in a situation where you're Mr. Sensible in many ways.
Well, I have a job.
But then
Ronnie
Steve
O'Sullivan,
Davis, who seems to, he's not, he's changed. He's a Mr. Party now.
He finds me boring now, Steve. He's like,
He finds you boring.
He finds me boring.
And Steve Davis not boring anymore.
Steve Davis. Well, he was just focused.
I don't mean that wrongly.
He went to bed chalking his cue.
Does he still do that now?
He doesn't play. He does. He works for the BBC, but he does DJing at the weekends.
Yeah.
He's got this sort
He's
of.
into his jazz heavily, isn't he?
Jazz, I think.
Yeah.
And he's having a well of a time. But good luck to him. I look at him now and thinking, all I want to do now is just sort of chill out, really. I don't want that mayhem anymore. My mayhem would probably be a bit more in front of his mayhem, that's for sure.
Can I just ask a quick personal family question, really? When was the first time you were made a grandfather?
Well, my eldest grandson is 15, so my daughter was 26.
Right. And so you being the age you are now, 59, and you've got 8 grandchildren now.
I've got 8 grandchildren.
How does that feel? Because
it's amazing, absolutely amazing. And my kids come from a different world from me. They all speak properly and they're all polite. All I wanted from my kids is manners and a bit of sensibility. So they're all great. They're all doing really well.
What would they be saying about Dad? Any one of them. What would your kids be saying about you?
In what respect?
Presumably they're extremely proud of you. You've provided for them.
They definitely love me because I see them all the time. They're always. I'm always. I actually phone my kids up to say, can I pick up my grandkids from football and all that, because I want to help. And they're all coming to me for Christmas dinner. So no, listen, my grandkids are my life. See, with your children, I'll tell you a quick story. Just recently, my grandson Roman, who's 4, he was born with 1 kidney, and 1 kidney only had 10%, and he had a kidney transplant about 10 weeks ago. And touch wood, everything has gone well. So he's all of a sudden he's doubled in weight. So that is just put us all even more closer. But to watch my kids run around helping each other in a crisis, you sit back and you just think, well, this is just the most amazing thing in the world. So
and mission accomplished, would you say?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. No. Listen, my kids are polite. That's my most important thing for me.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, and what's Christmas looking like? You've got your daughter coming from the Cayman Islands. And anybody else?
No, just my kids, and just my son lives with me, and all my kids will be and all my grandkids will all be round for me. And then at Boxing Day, when they've all gone, I'll be going around looking at all the scratches on all the furniture.
And does it bother? Are you a little bit OCD?
Yes, big time.
So,
now.
but how do you deal with that? Because I know what you mean.
Well,
you just have to get on with it.
Well, you just have to take no notice of it, because it's out of your control.
And their children.
Yeah, and their children. Yeah, oh no, I don't care. I'll get someone to go around filling in all the scratches. Don't worry about that.
What's the day-to-day life of Jimmy White? Jimmy White, because you're not playing snooker every day.
Well, I am actually. I'm practicing most days. I'm practicing 5 or 6 days a week, but I don't practice. I practice for like about 3 hours. I walk down.
That's a lot more than you used to do.
Oh no! If I'd done 3 hours a week, I'd done well.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but I'd get up, have breakfast. I'd walk the Downs, which is where the race course is in Epsom, and then I'll play snooker, and then I'll go out and have an evening meal somewhere in Surrey. And I eat out a lot, which is probably, I do that quite a bit. I quite enjoy that, and my life's just. And then I do a lot of exhibitions with John Virgo and Ronnie O'Sullivan. So I'm busy enough. Yeah.
Jimmy, am I right? You once had your dog kidnapped.
Yeah, dog napped. Yeah.
And you actually paid the ransom, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, you've done your homework. I had a dog called Splinter, a Staffordshire Bull Terrier, beautiful dog, but he kept escaping all the time, and we had these wanted signs we used to put on trees to look at him. You find him, there's a £300 reward. Anyway, my dog, there was a fun fair I lived in Cobham at the time. There's a fun fair come to Surrey, and when the fun fair went, found out that loads of dogs had been stolen. So I speak to some travellers, and I say, look, my dog might have been, because I've been in the police station, they don't do nothing. So I spoke to a traveller guy, and he said, well, they've gone to North London, that particular fun fair situation. So I got in touch with someone. They said, yeah, we might have your dog. We swapped it for a lurcher, right? Oh.
But they knew whose dog they were nicking, did they?
No, they didn't know.
No. Right.
So it's a terrible thing now. Now they send them to prison for nicking dogs, which they should have done a long time ago. So anyway, I now got to meet at the clock tower in Epsom at midnight. I've got to be there to pay the ransom of £300, right? Because that was what was on the poster.
Yeah.
And they said they swapped a lurcher for the dog, or bollocks, excuse my French. So I'm there at 12 o'clock by the clock tower, and this guy comes from out the shadows. He stands next to me, and I look at him. His name's Johnny Frankham, same name as a jockey. He was a bare fist knuckle fighter, and I knew him because I'd seen him fight.
Yeah.
So he's gone, oh, Jimmy, it's you. I said, yeah. He said, I don't want the money. I said, look, John, I'll give you the money. I want the dog. He said, no. He said, I don't want the money, because obviously he was getting 150 or something for bringing. So he said, anyway, I said, look, John, here's the 300 quid. I've got my 3 children are 6, 7 and 8.
You'd be so happy to have that dog back.
Listen, it's incredible, right? So he's given the nod for this van to come, and this white van to come. They've opened the back doors. They put the dog out, and as they've gone to drive off, the dog's going to jump back in the van.
No,
He's going to jump back in the van.
That is fabulous.
So they had to stop it, and they had to do it all again, and eventually we got him home.
It's almost like it was written by Ronnie Hazelhurst from Only Fools and Horses.
Absolutely.
Honestly.
I know.
Wow, what a story. Yeah. What a story.
So he was actually, he was on the front page of the Times, Jimmy White dog napped, a colour photo of a Staffordshire Bull Terrier. Yeah. Mad.
Do you know what? You're 59, right?
Yeah.
But really, you're 100, aren't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I
it's
bet.
a century.
So you must never regret.
Oh, listen, I've got... Yeah, there's a few things I regret, that playing this wonderful game of snooker when you feel sick through the abuse that you've given your body, So there was a lot of times that you didn't enjoy it because you're ill, you know yourself. If you're doing things when you've had too much alcohol the day before, it's a horrible feeling. But no, I've got no regrets at all.
I mean, that must have been a bit of a show, really, to to put on whilst you're at the table.
Oh yeah. Oh no, you'd be sitting there and the sweat would be pouring down your face, and it would be actually burning you because it's like pure alcohol coming out your system.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is something, isn't it?
Yeah.
Incredible.
I should look like him.
Look at. Oh, good. Are you serious, Jimmy? I think that's going down a bit too many notches.
No, but you know, I'm very lucky. You know, that I sort of, you know, I don't smoke. I smoked as well, cigarettes.
You see, I saw you in Preston once. We had a chat in Preston, which was, I don't know how long ago, I can't remember, maybe 20 years ago. And you look better now than you did then.
Oh no, I'm a lot better now. I eat good food now, and you know, I sleep well. You know, my life's really good at the moment.
So when you were coming out of the hotel this morning, to be honest, hardly recognised you because you looked younger.
You said to me, "Where's Jimmy?"
Didn't
you? Remember?
It's Jimmy. Oh my gosh. And honestly, without a shadow of a doubt, you look more younger now. Your skin is looking great.
Yeah, no, well, you know, I look after myself now. You know, I take, you know, I really try and eat healthy. You know, and it's you know, it's paying off. You know what I mean? And
it certainly is.
Lucky,
It really is.
Hasn't it been wonderful having him here? I mean,
it's been an absolute
Have
joy.
you ever been told you're very pleasant to have as a guest?
That's very nice of you, Wayne. Thank you.
Have you ever been told it before?
Not really, because I don't do many radio shows. Only because you're my mate and Virgo's
Honestly?
mate.
So we feel blessed.
I know
you normally just do telly then. Now
I don't do a lot of it. You know, to be fair.
You must do telly though. You do. I mean,
No,
you're
I do
doing
Eurosport.
Eurosport.
And I work for Eurosport. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very nice of you. Thanks.
No, seriously, it's
God
like
bless you.
it's like having an old slipper in, isn't it?
Comfy sock.
A onesie.
Listen, it's been great. Thank
God
you so
bless
much
you.
indeed for opening up and letting us know into the world of Jimmy White. And we can't really thank you enough.
It's been a pleasure, and any time.
Thank you.
God bless.